Hi, everyone. Welcome to Park Central. We have a great panel for you today. I'd like to welcome Mike from MUSE TV and Norm from Horror Buzz. How you guys doing?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, great panel. It's the same panel we've had for the last two shows.
And it's always been a great panel. It is a great panel. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot going on in the last couple of weeks with, I think last time we spoke was the cancellation of the first park, the first Halloween event. But yes. I know there's a lot more going on now. Like we were talking about only home haunts last time, but I know like Reign of Terror is still going to be around. We're kind of seeing everything suss out. Do you have a little more hope this week than you did last time?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Smidge, but I'm just trying to keep it real, trying to understand that this is going to look very different, and I'll be very grateful for anything. I just want to smell fog.
Yeah, I think the people are willing to take a chance, and I'm thinking that some of the where the parks shut down and they were like, we're not doing this. I think a lot of other people who were probably thinking the same thing for like safety reasons saw that there's now an opportunity. So we're going to stay open and change things a little bit, but like at least you can stay open and be kind of the big name in haunts right now.
Well, they I mean, I don't mean to step on your toes, but like, Knott's had canceled, and Reign of Terror said they were remaining open. There's going to be a new drive-through haunt in Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
So there is stuff out there, but
yeah.
The thing, Reign of Terror in particular, lends itself to this this new way of haunting, because a lot of their stuff is sets and mechanical effects, and it works beautifully, and it always has. There are only a few very minor adjustments they'll have to make, and I'm assuming they just won't have any actors, period, or maybe very distanced ones. But it's always just been Reign of Terror has always just been a huge spectacle. That's great.
I've actually never been. I've talked to him every year. I say I'm going to go, that this is going to be the year here we're going to do it. And usually I run into the same guys at Midsummer Scream year after year. And I'm like, no, this year I'm going to be there. I promise I'll be there. And then,
okay, well, this year we're going, Charlie.
Yeah. I would love to finally get to go. Even, I've been saying it for so long, and now my hand is kind of forced. So I really am looking forward to it. I've seen a couple of their things online, and I've heard nothing but great things from everybody who's gone. So I think I'm happy to see that they're still going to be around.
It reminds me of those long form haunted houses from like the Midwest and back East, where they take a gigantic space and they just build. And like, you'll get to a new scene and it's like clowns, and you'll get to another scene and it's a mine shaft, and you get to another scene, it's the jungle. Like and it takes like 40 minutes to go through. So it's like that,
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that kind of stuff. Now I know Knott's is going from their Taste of Calico event, kind of dipping our toes in, seeing how it goes, to now the Taste of Knott's, and it's bigger and more area to the park to walk around. I've also heard some of the theme park companies saying they're still going to dress up the parks or the downtown shopping areas, all that kind of stuff for the season. What's the over under on Knott's, kind of, even if they don't have Scary Farm, if they do some sort of Taste of the Fog or something like that? Like, Calico fogs up like nowhere I've ever seen. It's one of the few places where you can literally taste it in the air, because it's, especially by the blacksmith shop with the trees going over, there's nowhere for the smoke to go. So it really is, it's like walking through soup. So they could just offer us some soup and we'll go. But with no characters in the fog and just kind of decoration, I could see that as a possibility to do a Halloween and or a Christmas event kind of like that.
Yeah, I really am happy to see Knott's being inventive and, from what I hear, keeping things as safe as they can be.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what made them famous, which is the food. So with I like that idea of a taste of haunt, or taste the fog.
Taste the fog.
But because
trademark Park Central, they can pay us for the rights.
Yeah, because they're going to use it. But they probably could do that, because they even had haunt specific food offerings.
Yeah.
And it would definitely be a nice nod to the haunt community. Oh God, but boy, that would be painful. I mean, there was one that to walk in there and be like, it's not haunt, but they had this one. Oh God, this meat lovers pizza that was, I forget the exact name of it last year, but it was so good. It was just so good.
Yeah, I remember getting that too.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Well, they used to, years ago, they did a like a special thing at the hotel, like the buffet. Do they were they still doing that?
Yeah. They have different
buffet.
Yeah, they call that the buffet.
The buffet, yeah.
But they also did stuff in CDR and Chicken Dinner Restaurant and stuff like that. So but it I don't think they'll be doing anything like that at the hotel this year, because
not at the hotel.
Way too close quarters.
Yeah, and we can't do any indoor dining, so that automatically, it was all on the top floor in that great ballroom, and that's all automatically out. So.
Yeah, and that's funny is that Disneyland had one of those things where you could taste the fog as well, but there was no fog. You just walked through certain parts of the park, and you could taste something. All right.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Let's just say it didn't smell right, especially on very, very crowded days. But no, I remember, like Norm said, specialized food. I remember one year they had the shrimp roll boys that they made for the theme to one of the, I forgot the name of the maze is, but it was a New Orleans themed maze. And I mean, it's a good idea. At least they're able to make some revenue in order to offset the cost they've lost, and also some of the money that they've lost. So I think it's a good idea. They do different things, and it'd be great for Christmas, because they already do something similar for Christmas already with the stands and everything. So
yeah. And that's, no one has started talking about that, because we're all kind of hoping this is going to be over in September, the same way we hoped it was going to be over at the end of March. It's not.
No, it won't.
Everyone's afraid to put anything out. I know a couple of the Universal Orlando hotels are closing on August 21st.
Really?
Really? I haven't seen a reason why, but like 2 of them are closing and the rest are staying open.
Do you know?
I think it was Aventura and I can't remember the other one. I just saw I read the story real fast, and it was
Cabana
like,
Bay,
no.
Cabana Bay?
No, I can look it up.
Because I love that.
Because that's the one closest to the water park too, and usually they'll close the water park for the season, like in September or something like that.
Yeah, I think the water parks are reopened. I can't remember.
And boy, wouldn't it be great to have water parks?
Below Sapphire Falls Resort and Universal's Aventura Hotel.
Got it.
There you go.
Are the ones that are closing. So, they're closing, and Disneyland, of course, is still pushing out now into September their reservations, and I don't know why at this point, like, other than the closure, that was news, but everyone's still kind of shocked when it's like, oh no, this is getting canceled. Like, well, yes, that's how it works. We're still on the rise. How have you not figured this out yet? But it's when looking further at the future at at Christmas, at even into next year for the Food and Wine Festival, the Boysenberry Festival. Is that going to be something that's around? And I just don't have the confidence in anything anymore to say that yes, we're going to get it.
If you're still specifically talking about nuts, I don't see why we wouldn't have a Boysenberry Festival next year.
Well, I mean, with the park being open.
No. But they could still throw a Boysenberry Festival because it's food and it's atmosphere, and they could even put on shows in Calico Square. I mean, like, things would be very different, but we'd still be able to enjoy all that crazy bomb food. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a fan of the Fun Bun.
Okay.
Yeah, that stuff is so good.
I mean, that's essentially what they're doing now. It's the Boysenberry Festival, so they can do it in this same way. But I just don't see that the park will be open to full force the way it was by Boysenberry Fest next year. I don't. I think it's going to be a while.
It would be a very nice way to debut the Berry Tales ride. If they were super cautious and did reservations, but but again, do not hold your breath unless you're going outside. I'm so angry.
I kind of feel okay with it now. My anger is lessening. I'm getting, I've spent a lot of time at Universal City Walk, like an inordinate amount of time at City Walk. Yeah. And I try not to buy anything. Of course I do, but like just to be around theme park merch and look at the gate and take a couple of photos, and it takes the edge off. And so I've been down to Downtown Disney. I know we talked about it a couple of episodes ago, how crazy it was. And I went down again this week, and it was much better. The opening day jitters have, I guess, smoothed out. They're not. I went on a Thursday, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. And they didn't have the virtual queues. Everyone was pretty much keeping their distance. There were still, the couple of guests who were there walking out with giant bags full of stuff of, dog costumes and Splash Mountain merchandise. And you'll still get elbowed in the groin if you're looking at something that they have their eyes on. But, it is what it is with that, and that's never going to go away. So far as the overall feel, I think it's a lot better. Universal's been pretty good the whole time, but Disney has markedly improved, and cast members telling you, hey, you need to have your mask on, you need to back up, please stay back. They're much more on the ball than they were. And so I feel a lot better going down there. So I'm going to Downtown Disney every so often. I'm doing Universal a lot, and it's kind of taking the edge off to where, as much as I miss the parks, I'm not dying for it. And I wouldn't, because I've had this little taste, I'm not going to rush right back out to a park.
A taste of Universal?
Yeah. A taste of everywhere. I just go around licking all of the handholds, like all the handlebars.
Oh my God, moving on. Well,
yeah, exactly. That's a different show, folks.
Yeah. I actually, going down to City Walk, personally, for me, had kind of the opposite effect. I got kind of bummed. I mean, it was good to be there. Yeah, it was good to be there. And when I went there, I felt totally safe.
Yeah.
And everybody was really nice, like, with the temp check and the, funneling people through, into the entrances. And it was all great. I had no complaints, but it just kind of bummed me out because, I was in the theme park store just next to the gate, and then I was like, oh my God, there's no security gates. I can literally walk up to the arches, and I did, and I look in, I'm like, and it just made me sad. So
yeah, it is I mean, I'm loving the fact I've got so much stock art of those arches now, man. I have gone out and shot those every which way from Sunday at sunset, in the evening, all lit up. Like, it just,
McDonald's
I feel
has
great.
Nothing on you.
Oh, it's so nice. So that's really good. But I do share that sentiment of, it feels weird not to go in.
Yeah.
But
props to them for.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something.
I'm very happy for that, but
it's something. So
Legoland too. I mean, they're doing their thing as well.
Yeah, I haven't been down there.
How can they do anything? They're
the
aquarium.
Yeah.
Is it the aquarium?
No. The little Lego models. Yeah, the little cities. If you go in and buy something from the shop, or if you stay in the hotel, you're allowed to go and walk around the gardens and see all the outdoor attractions of, like the little Star Wars models and Paris and New York and everything. I haven't been down there yet, partly because
I thought Disney made them take the Star Wars stuff out.
Yeah, those are gone.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, the Star Wars stuff is gone.
Damn. That was last time I was down there. I saw that and I was thinking about that. Like, it's so great to see this, cross pollination, but I guess not anymore.
No.
Disney
doesn't cross pollinate.
No.
Yeah. Well, let's see how Islands of Adventure feels about that one. But yeah, they're opening. And so there's little bits here and there, and I think that now that we are settling back into this new normal, I don't think, other than the companies who are dying for the profits, because we saw the historic losses from Disney, from Universal, from AMC. I mean, AMC I think is about to go out of business. Like, everyone's losing so much money, so they're dying to get it open. But I just feel like, for the most part, except for those crazy people who are willing to elbow you in the nuts to get their merchandise, other than that, I feel like having these little adventures or the boobs, whatever,
exactly.
they're going to shoot for whatever your weak point is.
Yeah, but also let's just give an idea of how much AMC has lost. After hours trading, their stock is at $5.62.
Wow.
Okay, what was it before though?
A year ago, it was at $11.96.
Wow.
Oh. At one point last week, it was at $4.75.
Jeez.
See, it's times like this when I wish I had money to invest. I mean, like, I wish I had money all the time, but like to invest specifically is right now. This is probably an investor's dream, because everyone is dropping so much. You could pick everything up on the cheap. Even Disney. What does Disney's stock drop to?
Disney's at $130.40 in after hours right now.
Oh, that's still pretty expensive.
It was up at $151.64, but in March, when it actually did hit, it went as low as $88.80.
Wow.
On March 18th,
that's a good drop.
$88.
Yeah, that was
that's when you should have bought.
Yeah, that was like immediately after the first shutdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I say. That's where we go
mad money now?
And that's what we go to advertise it with Robinhood. If you need a code and you want to join Robinhood and want to buy some stock,
hey, if they want to come on and sponsor the show, this episode brought to you by Robinhood, then
you know what?
Exactly. Come on board.
It's nice to dream.
Yeah. It is nice to dream.
Exactly.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Like to have a seat next to somebody on the board of directors and say, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
Oh my goodness.
So, Mike, I know you've been doing MUSE is just going crazy with the online stuff. You guys have videos up all the time. Did I lose him?
Yeah.
There you are.
Oh no, I'm back. It's Charter Spectrum. We're having issues with them lately, and now with the heat, it's just made it even better.
Yeah, the rolling blackouts.
Yeah, mine's are like 10-second blackouts, rolling second blackouts. So it's been fun.
Yeah. So you guys have been going crazy with your MUSE TV channel. How do you think? Like, I really like the videos. You're doing a lot of the Zoom call interview kind of stuff. How do you think once everything does go back, do you think this is going to change not only, I guess, how you guys do things, but overall, is this going to be a normal thing? Like, specifically with theme parks, are they going to do virtual tours or something now? Like, at some point, I imagine they're going to want us to see fairy tales and Secret Life of Pets and all that stuff. What do you think about this as a future
to be honest,
format?
To be honest, I think one, it's terrible. When you're doing video interviews with celebrities, it's really hard to gauge what their aura and how they're feeling when you're talking to them. So it's kind of hard to know what questions to ask and how to switch it around and stuff when you're seeing them on camera. And sometimes you even wonder, like, oh, are you really talking in front of me? it's really crazy. Like this coming Tuesday, I have an interview with David Arquette, and that's going to be like, how is this going to work? Because I've interviewed him so many times at Horror Nights that it's kind of like you get he's so fun when you interview him live and in person. There's so much.
He's such a good guy.
Yeah,
he's so nice.
Exactly, and there's so much to play off of. But when you don't have people like this, it's hard to play. It's really hard to play off of them unless you really, really know them like you two. It makes it easier. But like for theme parks, with the show that we're producing and everything like that, I think it'll open a lot more because they're going to need to get people out. They're going to need to take that cautiousness that a lot of people have and get them comfortable and coming back. Because it's not going to, I don't think everybody's just going to rush back. Disneyland, maybe. I think Disneyland's going to be the one where everybody's going to rush back. It's going to be so crowded, but people are going to, after that one day, people are going to be a little hesitant to go back.
Yeah.
Other theme parks, it's going to be trying to get them in, trying to get them comfortable. That's why I say Knott's is doing a great job with what they're doing now, because you're slowly getting people comfortable about going back into the theme park, opening different lands, different areas, and
that's
then
a good point. That's actually a really good point. Because before, when they held Taste of Calico, frankly, I didn't go because I wasn't comfortable. But with this Taste of Knott's, they're saying there's even more space, and I've heard nothing but good from the Taste of Calico events. You know, and even though we just suffered another huge spike in California, I'm kind of like, you know, so
yeah, and it's for good reason too, because of what's going on. And there's really, I mean, luckily it's lucky that we live in California, where we have people who are keeping control. But if we're like in another state, I don't know if I'd be as comfortable. You know, it's like it's just so crazy. But but that's what I think. I think they're going to allow a lot of us to go in there, and a lot of us to more access in order to get people comfortable and coming back to the parks and spending money at the parks. You're seeing it in Florida. When I see pictures in Florida, like on the weekends, you see a good amount of crowd in the theme parks, especially at the Magic Kingdom. But during the week, it's empty. And I was looking at a friend's video who did a podcast. He lives in Orlando, went to the park and went to just go walk around because he's a big Disney fan, and it was empty. It was like nothing. It wasn't like when I went last year in October and it was packed. There was a few people walking around, and that's because mostly all locals.
It's so empty that the logs on Splash Mountain are sinking.
Exactly.
That's how empty it is.
And that could be for another show as well, but keep
that. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. This Splash Mountain thing is blowing out of proportion. I'm ready to tear into something. Oh man,
it's giving proof that maybe it is a good time to work on it. But it's just I think probably beginning of summer we're gonna start seeing things slowly come back.
Beginning of summer next year.
Each year, I'm hoping that it'll be sooner.
Yeah,
but I'm going summer to be safe.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the whole thing about this is like when you look back at old photos from a year ago, or like when you were there in October, you look at those and in the back of your head, you're like, that's not okay. It's changing the way we think, and it's going to change.
I already thought about that years ago when I did my first Halloween Horror Nights, and I'm always the one working the camera, and I'm getting slapped by these curtains all the time because the host doesn't hold it off long enough for me to get through. She's so scared that she literally just runs through, and I just get slapped when I go through another room.
But see,
So yeah,
that's why you got to get in line early in the night, because then at least those curtains aren't wet yet, you know?
yeah.
By 10,
Ew.
11 o'clock at night, everyone's been sweating and screaming, and
Okay,
those
but,
things are
like,
ripping.
I was already skeeved out by having to walk through strings and plastic, butcher curtains and things like that, because everybody has touched those, and the claustrophobia hallways. It's like, ooh. So
yeah. And then, I mean, looking at Queen Mary, the Dark Harbor, some of that stuff, like, you're touching the same piece of the ship as you're crawling through that people have been touching for literally generations. Like, I'm sure no one has gone through and really done a good scrub on all of this stuff, since like World War II. So
scabies is real. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we got through that and we were okay. There were so many other issues I had with that was super low on the list.
Oh, you.
Yeah, that's again for another episode.
But all those things and everything is still not as bad as El Super Beasto Maze at friggin' Great American Nightmare.
Must you bring that up again?
It is like
what is this?
It was still the craziest maze I've ever been through.
Okay, let us know. I have not heard this, so I would like
the big vagina. The big vagina.
Oh, I heard you reference
hallway.
that.
That you had to walk through, and it was one of those 3D blacklight mazes, that was so popular for a bit.
Yeah,
and
Let's just put it this way. I wish I had video footage of it now so I could play that Cardi B song while we're going in through the maze. But
like, seriously, I could not publish pictures of the entrance of that maze.
Really?
At all.
Oh, and this was at Great America.
No. It was at the Pomona Fairplex.
Yeah. They had a section of the Pomona Fairplex, and they had 3 mazes in there, and then there was a concert hall next to that. So, but moving on. Must we talk about that again?
Well, see, now I'm curious. How was the claustrophobia of the vagina different than like the those puffy hallways that Knott's used for
that's what that is.
That's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the difference is those were lower by your weight.
They were what?
Those puffy hallways, the puffy things, and that the Calico maze. Those were lower than the ones that they had at the Great American Nightmare.
Oh,
those were like chest high. For me, they were chest high. The one at Great American Nightmare was like full body.
Yeah, I remember the Tooth Fairy when it first came out, like 2004, 2005. That one's been around forever at Knott's, and I was a much tinier kid at that time, and so going through it really was like over the head. And I brought my youngest sister with me, and she jumped up into it and got stuck, and I just walked away from her. It was great.
Jumped up in what?
In those puffy things.
Seriously?
It was over my head. The very first year there was a fuzzy hallway, and then there was the puffy things, and it was up over my head. I was probably 15 or so, 16. And it was all the way up here. And my young sister, who was maybe 7 or 8 at the time, so I guess I was about 17, she jumped up into it and kind of got stuck like this. And her feet were hanging off the ground. And I didn't see her, so I just kept going. And she's in there like rocking and screaming until she dropped back down.
What you're saying is, in a pinch, stick with you, right?
Yeah. Well, I've actually, and my sister loves to bring it up, I have left her in all the best haunted houses, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. And he has a lifelong fear of werewolves now. But it was a great house, and so like, you can appreciate the artistry, and she's much tougher for it. She doesn't feel things anymore. She gets by just fine because I've left her in too many houses.
This is a reason why there needs to be a Willy Wonka maze somewhere.
No,
just that dark, menacing tunnel.
No. Oh, don't get me started on that damn movie.
Which one, Tim Burton or the original?
No, the
No,
original one.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the original one is gospel.
Yeah.
No,
I love that movie. Are you kidding me? What? Okay. What is? Why do you hate Gene Wilder and childhood laughter? Tell me that.
Oh, I don't hate Gene Wilder. I hate
childhood laughter. No, just kidding.
No. Okay, you guys froze. Okay.
Yeah,
Look,
we're back.
I don't want to get into it. I just don't like. I just hate that movie. So there are things that I like about it, and yes, I recognize it is a classic. But I don't like it. I find it disturbing and uneven.
When I was on
I
Jungle
was gonna
Cruise, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, talking about disturbing and uneven. What kind of are we gonna see the mazes from this year go into next year's mazes?
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Oh yeah,
exactly. Satchel, at least we having a good idea.
That projected map from Halloween Horror Nights that had like Beetlejuice and stuff. I'm sure the deals are already done. They just backdated them now. So yeah, I don't know how relevant Haunting of Hill House is going to be if that's what they're doing. But I think it'd make a cool house.
There's a second season coming out that's centered around another piece of literature. So
that's what I don't know if season one, unless it's like American Horror Story where they got to it so late and they did the first season of that like 4 or 5 years after, like by the time they were already doing Circus, they were doing the first American Horror Story, so it could work. But it was kind of like it really hit that it's timely right now. Do this one, and then next year you can do season 2, kind of like they were doing with Stranger Things to shoehorn in season 3 of that.
That was terrible, by the way.
I'm just hoping Gremlins was a thing and it was actually going to be a maze.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
I think it'll be fun. I'm sure they've still got all those leftover, air props from Chucky in the House of Horrors that were the mummies from the Mummy walkthrough. Yeah. That I could see all those being Gremlins.
And it'd be a funny nod with like an original Gremlins, how they show Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in the theater. And they did that again as a little oof to the Disney.
Yeah, I don't know if Disney will allow cross-pollination,
but it would be funny.
Oh man,
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
theme park.
What?
Theme parks, I miss them.
Yeah, a little bit less though now. Like I said about the shopping centers and stuff.
Yeah, now it's a tease. Kind of like when we went to the Taste of Calico. I see Berry Tales. I see the sign working and everything, and I'm kind of like, dude, I really want to see what they did with it.
But see, what I'm really disappointed in, this is just more complaining about coronavirus. We had an interview scheduled with Rollie Crump.
Oh yeah,
for the beginning of April to talk to him before that opened, and to get his input. And it was him and his son to interview for the TV show, and to get input from the two of them who worked on the house would have been really great.
Yeah.
So that's just another thing that's gone. Anyway.
Yeah, hopefully Bob Gurr isn't like, damn, these guys did the interview and they never even did their footage. They're just like everybody.
Yeah, everything got shut down. I mean, there's nothing we can do unless we just put it out as an addendum to the podcast. Then we have like 2 hours of just shooting the shit with one of the all-time great Imagineers,
Exactly.
That'd be a fun episode.
We could get Bob. Bob's fun.
Yeah. We interviewed him right before the shutdown. It was great. He was wonderful, and he kind of showed us around and just like, what do you want to know? Like, let's go. And we just talked about everything I've ever had a question about. I mean, it was one of the best interviews I've ever had in my life because
he's so forthcoming.
Yeah, and he structured his quotes so well. He's been doing these interviews so long. Yeah. He knows exactly how to say the right thing.
Yeah.
It was great.
He can build a soundbite.
Yes, he can. And so it was really nice.
And the memorabilia that he has is
just his wall of like the commemorative plaques of the Omnimover and stuff like that's theme park history, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm very excited eventually to be able to put something together and include all that. And then
eventually everybody will see it.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year.
Yeah, it's in the can, so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go.
I feel like that's starting this podcast in the height of the shutdown was interesting timing, because every episode has naturally come back to I'm sad because I can't go to a theme park, whereas it should be like I went to a theme park and I hate what they're doing and I'll tell you why. You know, that's how every other theme park show ever has gone, and we get to miss out unless we're going to start pulling from the bag. Like, you guys remember this Pirates of the Caribbean? Let me tell you what's wrong with that ride.
The redheaded who not just get the redheaded pirate. That's different.
Now, boy. I gotta say, when they said that, I was like, no, this is bad. It's revisionist history. I don't like this. But then when they put her in, I really liked that character. She's an Irish pirate based on a real pirate named Grace O'Malley, who's really cool, and I've always been a big fan. Don't roll your eyes at Grace O'Malley.
I'm just rolling my eyes at Disney. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
it's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
it's revisionist history, and we're seeing that now. You know, with another ride that is going out, and God forbid they should ever take a look at Jungle Cruise, the ride about British imperialism, and you know, like what are we going to change next?
The Rock is gonna. I can tell you right now, The Rock is coming to the Jungle Cruise.
If that movie's big, it'll happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. The Rock will be there somewhere at an audio animatronic.
Well, if I know one thing about Disney Parks movies, The Country Bears being a huge success, Haunted Mansion being a huge success, the reboot of the Haunted Mansion flying its way to theaters right now, we have nothing but great success with Disney Parks movies.
You know what? Spotty at best.
Yeah.
They've
got one. They have one movie that was really great, and they keep making them, and you know they keep making money. So there is that, but like the Lone Ranger, I loved, but I think that was a death knell for a Big Thunder movie, and I don't think other than me, no one's really beaten down the door to see a movie based on the Mike Fink Keelboats attraction. So we're kind of running out.
No, I'm kidding.
It's a race on how fast they sink to the bottom.
I wrote a spec script for that.
Well, the one thing I remember, there was a thing coming out in the trades that they were going to make a Magic Kingdom movie about the theme park. Yeah. And Jon Favreau was supposed to be behind it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Favreau?
Yeah, Favreau.
I think I still have, because that was going to be phase 2 of their theme park. It wasn't like a cinematic universe, but it was like a series of theme park movies.
Yeah, and they start it with Tomorrowland.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that was going to be phase 2.
Yeah,
I love right there, Tomorrowland.
I've not seen it, so
it's not bad.
It's great. I loved it. I think the problem is it talked down to everyone, and they were like, this is a really complex, not quite Christopher Nolan level complex, but like probably more complex than it needed to be. Very high concept.
It wasn't as crazy as Tenet is, even though we don't even know what Tenet is by even watching the trailers.
Yeah,
but it was a lot more suitable.
Yeah, it was a little more. It was a little complex, more complex than the average movie. And unfortunately, the whole crux of the story was, if you don't understand this, and if you're just a regular person alive today, you're stupid and deserve to die. And I think that pissed people off. I love that because that's, you know, I'm an elitist. And so I love being like, oh yeah, if you're dumb, then go away, you know?
I just hate people.
So, there you go. So
there you go.
I mean, like, honestly, it's worth watching because it had a couple of points in there about you notice the kind of media that we consume nowadays, and it really does say something about us as a people and where the world is headed. And it was very sad. And then Tomorrowland is like, this is the utopia that you're supposed to be working towards, but we don't like that kind of stuff anymore. But that I loved that movie, and even if, you know, it's not really a franchise, it was a one-off, so it's not like, there's no sequel, but like, I would like to see more stuff like that. I think the Magic Kingdom isn't happening now for the same reason Kingdom Keepers isn't happening now. Kevin Smith came on for Disney Plus to develop a Kingdom Keepers series with Ridley Pearson, which blows my mind. Like, more than The Mandalorian or anything else, I would love to see a Kingdom Keepers series, but it takes place primarily in the Disney parks. It uses almost every Disney IP that has ever been. And the Disney executives told Kevin Smith that they were like, nah, you're using too many characters, cut it down, or we're not going to do it. And he's like, the whole thing is it's all the characters in Magic Kingdom. And they were like, never mind then, because they don't want to blow their load on one series to feature like everybody across everything. And I think Magic Kingdom would have to be the same thing of, you know, it's oddly enough going to be Disney centric. It's going to be the story of the Magic Kingdom. So how do you do that without having any characters or properties and not being able to spin them out into one-offs? You know, you don't want to put the Mike Fink keelboats into the Magic Kingdom, because what if they can have a franchise of Mike Fink keelboats based around Ryan Gosling?
That's what I've been saying.
There you go. Why aren't we doing this right now?
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
You know, but there's...
But yeah, but here's the thing too. From the last time we've talked, there was a new attraction that opened up, not in California, but at Silver Dollar City. They had that new
that
river rafting ride.
Yeah,
Really?
That just opened up.
$23 million raft ride.
Yeah, and
I haven't seen that yet.
it's a regular raft ride, and then it goes up in an elevator for a 5-story drop.
So it's like Jurassic Park in Japan.
Yeah, same. Not Japan. Shanghai. Is it Shanghai? Yeah, Shanghai. Somewhere around there.
Yeah,
around Shanghai. It's really crazy. Like, if you chance to go to got the video, it looks like such a fun water ride.
Yeah, I'll take a look. I haven't seen that. I saw the Orion on-ride stuff because that just opened, and there was something at Hershey Park, some candy bar theme.
Pandemonium.
Yeah, that looks really cool. I mean, kind of, you know, definitely built for the thrill, that first big thrill, and it doesn't seem to have a whole lot of other substance to it. It just feels kind of like there it is, and like, we got the record. All right, go back to the station. So, you know, it's cool. It
needs to be on a shirt. We've got the record. Go back to the station.
Yeah, there are so many coasters that are like that. I'm not the biggest coaster fan in the world, so I'm not, you know, over the top with every Giga Hypermax everything. But, you know, when you have a ride like Accelerator at Knott's, which we're all familiar with, it's like you get to do that really cool over the top hat maneuver, and then you essentially just slow down and go back home. There's nothing else. Not that they have a lot of room, but like, there's not a lot else. You're not going to get, you know, the same kind of ups and downs and twirls that you have on Silver Bullet, because that's built for a different reason. And I feel like a lot of these record coasters that they're going for are just, we're going to achieve that record and then that's it, and we're done. And it takes up a small footprint.
I mean, kind of. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, no.
Yeah.
But we're going to need to get some video footage in Florida hopefully soon. We could, if it goes to, if we get some Universal Orlando Islands of Adventure footage, that'd be great, because they're building that new Jurassic Park coaster.
Yeah, the unannounced coaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
That little bit above the pathways.
Yeah. working rock right now.
Yeah,
So
it's
you kind of could see what this is going to look like when it comes down into turns and things like that. At least a little bit better, but it looks like the track is done.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I saw the other day they built out the tallest point and hung a flag on it maybe a week or two ago, and so we're kind of seeing where it is. They've got everything but the load station in place, I think, and yet it's still unannounced. Like they're giving updates here and there about Nintendo Land, and that's a ways off. And we heard about all these other things that are so far out so that they can build the hype. You would think for a roller coaster based on velociraptors running through the jungle, you'd think they'd want a little bit of hype about that.
I don't know. The Jurassic Park IP is a little bit played, so I think they're just using it for filler.
Well, now it's all Jurassic World. We don't talk about Jurassic Park anymore. We're going to pull all that stuff. It's now Jurassic World.
I'll be back in just a sec. I got an emergency phone call right now. Hold on.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Right on.
Boy, I'm so glad he's gone.
I'm still on the call with Charlie. Yeah, Mike, he's sorry.
That just put it there. You go. Thank you. So, I mean, I know everything in horror is kind of slowed down, and that's been the crux of what we've been talking about the last couple of episodes.
Well, you know what? It slowed down. It slowed down everywhere, not just in horror, but in themed entertainment and all of these things. And that's just where we're at right now. And until people can, wear masks all the time, and don't get me started on that one. But we're going to continue to suffer like this. But despite that, there have been some amazingly inventive films shot, during quarantine, during stay-at-home orders, I should say. And now production is starting back up again with specific restrictions, for physical distancing and things like that. So the horror community just found another way, and the horror film community, especially indie films, were the most agile, the most nimble, and the most responsive to these constraints, because they could. They could just be like, cool, what are we going to do now? Here's an iPhone, let's make a movie. So
and especially with indie films, because you don't have the kind of weight of a budget weighing sitting over the production of, like, you have to return this amount. You can kind of just do whatever, grab a little camera and go out and shoot, even if it's not 4K Panavision gorgeous, whatever, just whatever it is, and you can run with it. And then I have yet to see a movie about being stuck at home during the pandemic, but I'm willing to bet that around Halloween I'm going to start seeing shorts about that.
There have been a few really good shorts.
Have there?
Yeah. Some really.
I keep looking for it, and that to me, when everything shut down and then they were like, we're going to get back to going, I figured, now that everyone has been home and wanting to do something and all that, like Joe Rohde released that whole series of behind the scenes looks at how they designed Animal Kingdom, and it was just sitting around at home because they could, and all that kind of stuff is starting to come out now. And so that's the quarantine, especially the short form horror, is what I'm looking for. So if you have a couple of good ones, send them to me.
Yeah, actually, I will. Yeah, there's some wonderful stuff being done with the indie horror film community. Yeah, and right now there are a lot of film festivals that are virtual. Fantasia Film Festival is going on right now. That's one of my favorites in the whole world. But it's completely virtual this year. Yeah. So you see some great stuff there, and we're going to get through this. We will, and everything will go back to normal for the most part. We're going to be a lot more cognizant. Yeah. We're going to be a lot more cognizant about germs. Yeah. We're going to be a lot more freaked out about the flu season. Yeah. going to take a good 5 years, I think, for us to kind of really get over this.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you see anybody talking about the Spanish flu now? I mean, like,
yeah.
did you before?
Only in reference to this, you know.
Right. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to dismiss it, but it's just putting things in perspective.
Yeah, and I know after a little while, everybody will start to forget, because, I mean, we live in California. This is prime earthquake country, and geologists everywhere have said, if you live in earthquake country, you need to have a survival kit. You're going to have a problem. And like, I've done countless stories on earthquake preparedness and understanding that, like, because LA specifically hasn't put in a lot of infrastructure work, because you have to shut off service in order to replace pipes and stuff. A lot of the pipes for natural gas are the original ones that were laid. And so the gas doesn't really degrade the pipe. They're still kind of in there. They're just old and shitty by being buried in the ground. Mm-hmm. So some of them date back to the early 1900s. If we get an earthquake, those are going to shatter, and that's going to be the last utility to be turned on. So I interviewed a guy who was a community emergency response team search and rescue guy during an emergency. And he was like, you can expect to be without power for probably 3 months, without water for 6 months, and without gas for 18 months. Mm-hmm. So how do you cook your food if you don't have gas coming in? Like, do you have enough firewood out there, or are you willing to go out into the streets while everything is nuts to go fight for some firewood so that you can cook the food that you can't buy at Ralph's? You know, like, and everybody kind of knows this, and yet nobody has
had it bad before. Well,
man,
until the earthquake hits.
Yeah, and that's once we get one, because we're 150 years off from a major motion on the San Andreas Fault, and we should have one about every 97 years. So we know it's coming. We know, and like, we make, you know, the earthquake simulation at Universal, everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's going to be terrible. And every time I go through, I'm like, I know at some point this will be in poor taste and they'll have to pull this out, because it's going to be like in memoriam for the lives lost from, you know, last month's earthquake. We have to shut this down. But when it hits, we all know it's going to be bad. And yet we're not cognizant enough to be like, let's not build a bullet train directly across the fault, you know, that kind of stuff. So I know it falls away, and I know there are other concerns that we're like, yeah, you know, American Idol, whatever. We move on really quickly.
Well, speaking of going off the rails,
I'm going down a rabbit hole on earthquakes.
But yeah, Mike just messaged and said, let him know when the show's over.
Okay.
So he can end the stream.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if our audience is done with us for today.
I think they might be, and I can do it right here. All right. Well, Mike's not here. Norm, thanks for coming. There you are. Thanks for coming. What have you got going on?
You too. I don't know how to do this Brady Bunch shit.
So what have you got going on Horror Buzz?
We are covering Fantasia Film Festival and getting ready to release some really interesting stuff on the site. Just staying as busy as possible. What about you?
I'm just writing as much as I can, and I'm at the theme parks a lot. I'm writing now for WDWNT, so that's taking up a lot of my time, and still writing for the newspaper, and I will be at Knott's next weekend, so that'll be coming out, and we're here every Saturday. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.